evening, everyone. I'm Charlie Lapastora. Ole Miss women's hoops announced their non-conference schedule today. It will feature 13 games with 8 of them at home. It all goes down November 10th against Northwestern State, including the games are at Oregon, at Temple, and at DePaul. Well, a college third-string kicker just won a full ride. Yes, you heard this right. It's an amazing story. This is why we love sports, because it's all about what happens off the field as much, if not more, than on it. Minnesota Golden Gophers place kicker Justin Juneman, entering his 5th season, hasn't played a snap in a game, but during a team meeting, new head coach from Western Michigan, P.J. Fleck, introduced players to Kyle, a young man who's a patient at the local children's hospital. Kyle says Juneman has visited him a lot at the hospital, with Juneman doing a lot for the community. His teammates are hyped because Fleck surprised the third-string kicker with the full ride. A walk-on kicker, now a full-ride student-athlete.
Never seen anybody serve and give more than that guy who is not a star player, who hasn't played, where his face is recognizable. He could easily just not do it and nobody would ever say anything. And all he does is continue to keep his oar in his water, live that holistic life, academically, athletically, socially, and spiritually. And you're sitting here looking at 2 examples, right, of what our culture can do.
Well, a new high school sports study is out and found that many states are not following all safety guidelines to protect student athletes from potentially life-threatening conditions. The study, released by the Corey Stringer Institute, which is named after the former NFL player who died from heat stroke in 2001, ranked stats on their health and safety policies. The study found there are 4 major causes of sudden death among high school players. That's cardiac arrest, traumatic head injuries, heat stroke, and exertional sickling, which occurs in athletes with sickle cell trait. The Institute is urging high schools to make simple policy changes that can help protect lives.
Football certainly is the highest risk for head injuries. Is there a path forward that we can try to limit the amount of head injuries by, for instance, better surfaces, better helmets? For instance, what I just mentioned to you before with USA Football, their Heads Up Football grant program has, some of the studies have shown a 50% reduction in concussion just by educating the coaches on how to properly tackle and block.
Matthew was a 15-year-old linebacker who in 2008, playing in his first high school football game, received a direct injury, a head-to-head collision, and he was unconscious on the field. And long story, he passed a couple of days later from a major brain bleed. You know, oftentimes your kids go off to practice. One of the gentlemen said, you know, you leave your child, they walk into practice, you don't see them again. Well, that's what happened. Matt went to practice. Injury was that night. It was over. Know your athletic trainer. Know the skills of your team physician. You know, hey, if you have time, watch the practices. Make sure they're adhering to the things around heat exhaustion and things like that. Know signs and symptoms of concussions if you see a child that doesn't look like they're right on the field.
Now, experts at the Institute say adopting safety policies to address leading causes of death among student athletes would probably cost less than $5,000 per school. Well, what in the world does Harley-Davidson have to do with hoops? Well, if money is involved, people listen, right? The Milwaukee Bucks and Harley announced a joint partnership today. It seems to be a theme what the NBA is doing this year, wearing sponsor logos, and the Bucks will wear a patch for this sponsorship. It's the first time the NBA is allowing teams to partner with companies for uniform sponsorships. The Bucks are the 12th team to do so. And Mark, you like this one, man, from yesterday. A baseball game was interrupted by a cat. It wasn't just any point in the game. It was with the bases loaded, 2 outs. Right after the cat left, the Cardinals took the lead after a grand slam and went on to beat the Royals. So there's your cat story for today.
Very cute. And then it ended up scratching the guy that picked him up.
Yeah, it scratched him, and it really hurt him. I mean, he was running and
he was running, yeah,
in pain.
He took one for the team.
Yeah,
I like that.